How's it going, everyone? I am back with another video. This is going to be my Week 17 recap video where I'm going to go through all the NFL games that took place for Week 17, break down my takeaways, thoughts, all that good stuff. So, diving straight in here. So, the first game was one of three games on Christmas. It was Cowboys at Commanders. And kind of as most people probably expected, Dallas, I know it was one score game, but they were in control the whole time. They had a three score lead at one point, and the Commanders kind of cut into it. The first half, the Cowboys were going up and down the field at will, scoring. Turpin had like an 80 something yard touchdown. They were just moving the ball at will against this Commanders team. The Commanders offense was, doing okay. It's sort of like, making it relatively, not a blowout, relatively close, sort of within fighting distance. Second half, the Cowboys offense slowed down a bit. Uh, Jacoby Cross, Jesus, Jacoby Krosky Merritt. There we go. Bill, he had a big game. I think he had a touchdown in the first half. He had a big run in the second half for a touchdown. Um, Cowboys they missed a field goal. Um, and then yes, it was a 7 point game, but Commanders just didn't have enough firepower. Dallas got the ball back. They just ran the clock out. Actually, they were down 10, and then 2 minute warning right before it. If I remember right, I think Washington kicked the field goal to cut it to 7, and then Dallas just ran the clock out. They got a first down, won the game, and yeah, not the most appealing matchup. Both these teams out of the playoffs, but was sort of entertaining. Big fantasy day for Dak. Of course, I was going up against him in the fantasy championship. You had Bill in your lineups, which you probably shouldn't have, but he actually had a good day. As I mentioned, 2 touchdowns, that long run. Yeah, Josh Johnson looked okay in this game. But yeah, the Cowboys are the much better team. It was evident in this one. So good for them to get a win here. They look pretty solid. The Commanders, they probably just want this year to end ASAP. Lions Vikings. This was a surprise. The Lions offense had absolutely nothing going for it. The Vikings defense dominated this game. The Lions, I believe, had 5 turnovers. They just could not get anything going. The Lions defense played really good too. The Vikings offense did very little outside of a jet sweep to Jordan Addison. They did very little in this game. Brosmer, I think, had he was either 3 or -3 net passing yards, and they still won the game. The Lions defense was keeping it close the whole time. They were down 7-0. They put together a very good drive at the end of the first half. They converted like a million third downs. They got a fourth down to Tesla in the end zone for a touchdown. Nice grab by him. He's a good contested catch guy in the end zone for them. And so yeah, it was tied at the half. Then the Lions, they just could not get anything going. They're turning the ball over. Vikings, they were up 6 at one point. They were up 3 for a good part of the second half, then up 6. And then yeah, the Lions are just hanging around, but then that Addison jet sweep really killed any chance the Lions had. They were moving the ball and then they turned it over again, and that was the game from there on out. The Vikings went up 13, and Lions moved the ball, but it was over before they could do anything with it. They're eliminated. Tough way for them to go out playing this poorly offensively. Very up and down year for them. A lot of injuries. Obviously, lost both coordinators. Had some bad breaks. So tough year for the Lions. We'll see how they finish their season in Chicago. They're going to want to play spoiler, especially for Ben Johnson. The Vikings, their defense has played phenomenal the past couple games. They can finish with a winning record, 9-8. The Packers are locked into the 7th seed, so it's likely, especially with all the injuries they have, that they're going to bench their starters. I would think, at least. I know they did that Week 18 last year, even though I think they technically could have earned the 6th seed. But I think they'll bench their starters in that game. So the Vikings probably should finish with a winning record, especially with that game being at home. So credit to them. Brian Flores, my guy from the Patriots, he would be arguably the top head coaching candidate if it was not for the lawsuit going on with the NFL. So he's a very unique candidate because teams probably aren't going to want him at the moment as their head coach because of that. So the Vikings are going to get a steal, probably keeping him. I think his contract is actually up, but I'm sure they'll renew it. But yeah, credit to the Vikings. They're on a win streak, too little, too late, but they're looking good, especially the defense. Credit to them. Lions, tough way to end your season. Broncos, Chiefs. Yeah, not a pretty game here. Denver struggled to put this Chiefs team away. And again, obviously, Chris Oladokun started this game. Stat wise, he did kind of very little, kind of as expected, but he made a couple nice improv plays that were pretty good on his part. Chiefs defense kept them in it. Practice squad guys getting called up injuries. The Chiefs are a mess this season, as we know, but it was 13-13, tied the fourth quarter. Then Denver, fourth down. Obviously, they're not going for it, just trying to draw them off sides. And Chris Jones before the game says how they gotta cut out the penalties, be disciplined, and he jumps off sides, gives Denver a first down. Third and goal, they get a touchdown. And then Oladokun and the offense were struggling mightily the whole game. They had 2 field goals and they had a touchdown. The touchdown was on a check down. Brashad Smith broke off a couple tackles, got in on third and goal. The offense actually moved the ball pretty well on that last drive, just, didn't have enough, throwing it in the end zone to try to tie it, but came up a bit short. But if Chris Jones doesn't jump off sides, I think they at least tie the game. And who the hell knows what would have happened in overtime. Denver outplayed them after they were down early, but the Chiefs very well could have won this game. So was rooting for the Chiefs for the first time in, I think, literally maybe the pre-Patrick Mahomes era as a Patriots fan, obviously, because this would have benefited the Patriots if Denver had lost. But Denver, like most of their games this season, not the prettiest. They got the job done. Another team they should blow out, and they narrowly lose to. It's just frustrating that they're probably going to get the 1 seed, but that's okay. We'll have to see what happens. Hopefully Trey Lance can bail us out this week. But yeah, Denver, give credit to them for the win. Division game on the road in Kansas City. Chiefs trying to play spoiler, have nothing to play for. So I guess could have been a trap game, but yeah, Denver really should have won this game more comfortably with how bad the Chiefs have been lately and all the injuries. But, competitive game, give the Chiefs credit for hanging around. But yeah, Denver, like I said, as in the case, most of their games this season, they just squeak by. Texans Chargers Saturday game. So right off the bat, the Texans were immediately at 14-0 off 2 deep shots. And I'm like, well, this game is kind of looking chalked for the Chargers. Chargers offense is struggling to get much going, and the defense kind of figured it out after that. They were holding the Texans to a lot of punts after that in the first half. And the Chargers finally got some momentum. They get a field goal, and then they get a nice deep shot to Johnson. They get all the momentum, and then a pass bounces right off Gaskin's hands, right into the Texans' hands for a pick. Stroud, a couple plays later, throws a pick. So I'm like, all right, well, momentum switch, and then another momentum switch. Chargers kicking a field goal, they miss it. So they're down 14-3 at the half. And I'm like, oh my God, bro. Like, that is brutal. And then the second half, Texans only got 2 field goals. One of them was in the fourth quarter. They go up 10. Chargers went right down the field. They scored. And then an extremely controversial call on third down. The Chargers stopped them. Very ticky-tacky call that goes against the Chargers, and the Texans are able to get a first down after that and chew the clock out to win the game. Would have been nice to have seen Herbert if he could have led a game-winning drive. Yeah, Dicker missed a PAT after the touchdown, so instead of 20-17, it was 20-16. So he missed 4 points worth of kicks, and they lost by 4. Just as he gets nominated to the Pro Bowl, too. I think he's the most accurate kicker in NFL history coming into this game, and then he misses 4 points worth of kicks in a low-scoring defensive game, so that obviously killed the Chargers. If the Chargers had won this game, and they honestly probably should have, because after those 2 big plays, they outplayed the Texans for the game, I would say. They would have been in a showdown with Denver this week for the winner-take-all. So, and if the Chargers had won that game, I'm going to assume my team's going to beat the Dolphins. We would have been the 1 seed. So that really sucks on my end, my team's end, that the Chargers weren't able to win this game. Texans defense, gave them the win pretty much after the hot start to the offense. They did very little. They were running the shit out of the ball. So give Houston credit for coming on the road against a gritty, tough Chargers team, getting the win. Chargers looked like they were dead in the water at the start. So give them credit for fighting back, hit some unlucky breaks, could have won the game. Tough one for them here. Ravens Packers, this was a surprise. The Ravens offense could not be stopped at all in this game. It was like the greatest show on turf, it looked like. Snoop Huntley did good in this game again. He didn't do too much, but he played really solid. Derrick Henry went off in this game. He could not be stopped. He had what, five touchdowns, I believe. Or no, I think no, was it four or five? Let's see. Um let's see here. But yeah, Derrick Henry, he went absolutely off in this game. Um, yeah, four touchdowns. He had 36 carries for 216 yards. The Packers defense played horrendous. They could not stop the Ravens at all. They're marching up and down the field at will. Green Bay's offense was actually really good in this game. Malik Willis easily had the best game of his career. He could not be stopped. He was passing it well. He was running it well. He was looking great. It was fun to see. Unfortunately, got hurt late in the game. He was going to come back for a potential, extremely late comeback, but the Ravens scored a touchdown, so they just put Tootin in, well, kept him in there, and just ran the clock out pretty much. But well, actually, they turned over on downs, and the Ravens just nailed it out. But Baltimore, this was a must-win. If they had lost, they would have been eliminated. And even after this game, it's like, well, the Steelers still need to lose to the Browns. That's what happened. So Baltimore, great for them to get this win here, stay alive. They have a win-and-in scenario against the Steelers this upcoming week. That should be a really good game on paper. Packers, yeah, the defense looked great against the Bears last week, obviously up until the collapse, and then they just get absolutely steamrolled by Tyler Huntley in the Ravens offense. So that at home in prime time too. They're locked into the 7th seed, as I mentioned earlier, so they're probably going to play. Well, they're going to rest their starters, play a lot of their backups. At least I'm assuming. But yeah, the offense was good in this game. They honestly played better than a team that normally puts up 24 points. But Malik Willis looked great. So give the offense credit. The defense just shit the bed in this game. So tough one for the Packers here. Give the Ravens credit coming on the road. All the controversy, they put their heads down, got to work, got a really solid win. Good game for them in this one. Oh, this is typo. There we go. There we go. Okay. Patriots Jets. Yeah. I made a whole video on this, like every Patriots game, so I won't go too in depth here, especially because the score is pretty indicative of how this game went. We just swatted the Jets. Right off the bat, we're up 14-0. I'm like, well, I don't even think the Jets are going to put up 14 points in this game, period, let alone come back from 14 points. So I was extremely confident we went up 2 scores. Drake May reasserted his MVP case. Stafford shit the bed against the Falcons on Monday night. So May's actually, by a good margin, the MVP favorite at the moment. Drake May had less incompletions in this game than Stafford had interceptions. Drake May only had 2 incompletions in this game, had 5 touchdowns. We pulled them very early in the third quarter. And then, as expected, we just took our foot off the gas, just ran the clock out, conservative offense. Borregales missed a field goal, so that sucks. But defense played great outside of Breece Hall breaking loose for a run. He had a decent amount of yak yardage and a check down to get them a field goal early in the game. Besides that, defense was great. Jets, I was extremely confident we were going to win this game, but I'm like, I was a bit nervous. It might be a bit closer than this, but we just blew the doors off them even more than I predicted. I predicted a blowout, not to this level. We're looking great. Yes, it was the Jets, but they're still a professional football team. And, we have a million injuries, especially receiving wise. Chisholm had a nice catch, and Yak yardage his first touchdown. That's good to see. He was a preseason favorite among Patriots fans. So, yeah, great on our part to go on the road, take care of business, absolutely annihilate a team that we should. Jets, oh boy, they just need their season to end, like most seasons. Seattle, Carolina. So the score honestly kind of is a bit misleading because it was close for most of the game, very low scoring. Seattle's offense has not been great lately, and I'm really starting to doubt that they're going to make a postseason run because of the offense being kind of lackluster. Yes, if you just look at the score, 27 points, that's really solid, but it came at the end rather than being like consistently throughout the game. Darnold had an ugly turnover early in the game, kind of a weird fumble play, multiple fumbles. Carolina recovered it. It was tied for, or actually, it was it tied or I think it was tied, and Darnold threw a pick in the third at the start of the third quarter. Either it was tied or Seattle was. I think it was Seattle may have been up 3. I'm forgetting exactly off the top of my head, but it was close, if not tied. But yeah, the Seahawks pulled away in the fourth quarter. Defense played great in this game. The Panthers had one decent drive where they got that touchdown. Otherwise than that, they really struggled in this game. Seattle is like honestly better on the road than at home. That's kind of the same thing with the Patriots. The Patriots are actually they finished their season undefeated on the road. Seattle fighting for the 1 seed, so obviously they want it. But if they lose it, at least going on the road, they know that they can play arguably better. So yeah, Seattle, their offense needs to start being more consistent. It's very streaky the past couple weeks. It went off in the fourth quarter, obviously against the Rams. It went off in the fourth quarter here. Then went off in the the second half against Atlanta. Besides that, it's kind of inconsistent and questionable play calling. Darnold doesn't look too sharp, but they're getting the job done. Second year in a row, Sam Darnold has a win, and you're the 1 seed, lose, and you're the 5 seed. So that's going to be an interesting case to watch that play out. Carolina, not the worst thing for them here. They have a win and in against Tampa. Obviously, it would have benefited them. If they had won this game, they would have won the division because Tampa lost. But if Carolina beats Tampa, they're in. They win the division. Or even if the Panthers lose, if Atlanta beats the Saints, Carolina's still in. So Carolina, not the worst thing for them to lose here. They look bad. They're a really hard team to read. Seattle, not the prettiest performance offensively. Defense got the job done. The offense did, enough when it mattered. Give credit to them. Panthers, as I said, hard team to read. Steelers, Browns. Yeah, the Steelers shit the bed. I'm pissed at myself picking the Steelers here, especially after Baltimore won. I was like, I really am getting a feeling the Browns are going to win this game. They were up 10-0 right off the bat, and then the Steelers defense played really good after that. They held them to 3 points, just one field goal. Steelers offense shit the bed. They had 2 field goals in the first half, actually in the second quarter. And then they did nothing the rest of the game. They're down 7 points. Rodgers actually led them right down the field. And then 3 straight plays, he throws it at Denzel Ward, and they lose, turn it over on downs. So yeah, classic Mike Tomlin game where you can win against an inferior team. You can win the division, and you shit the bed. You play down to your competition. I think they need to move on from Mike Tomlin. But we shall see what they do here. But yeah, Steelers just shit in the bed in a game like this is so Mike Tomlin. But get the Browns credit. Their defense played a hell of a game. The offense, as I mentioned, was playing well. Shedeur had 2 kind of ugly turnovers, but Shedeur, I think they need to just move into next season and just start him at quarterback. He certainly is much better than Dillon Gabriel. But what the hell's going to happen with Deshaun Watson? Who the hell knows? That atrocious contract. But yeah, I think they need to fire Stefanski too. And it looks like they're going to based on some reports that recently came out. But that's another we'll have to just wait and see what happens. But yeah, Browns, hell of a job with the defense, getting the win here. Meant a lot to them to spoil the Steelers season. Not that they did it for the Ravens. There was kind of a funny back and forth exchange on Twitter with the Browns and Ravens accounts. But Steelers, yeah, just unacceptable to lose a game like this. And yeah, they had no Metcalf, but still. Again, Metcalf probably would have been the target of those, one-on-one passes with Rodgers at the end, but still. Anyway, moving on. Jaguars, Colts. Close game, entertaining game. The Jaguars I think offensively they had a lot more yards than Indy, but Indy was saying in the game Philip Rivers statistically didn't play too great, but they were moving the ball. They had to lead a decent portion of it. And then, the Jags, they ended up kind of reestablishing control of the game, but Indy was right there. 3-point game. The Jags shoot a bunch of clock, go up 6, and the Colts ended up getting a Hail Mary off, but it got picked off in the end zone. Unfortunately, sad to see that Philip Rivers, his career's over again. It was a fun little 3-game stretch. Nice story there. They're going to start their backup, Riley Leonard, this week. But yeah, the Jags, credit to them, kind of a trap game. Colts are due for a win. Gritty team, was close. Jags are due for a loss. They overcame it. They won here. They were down early too. So give the Jags credit. Overexceeded expectations this year. Colts just a collapse, but it sucks for them that they're competitive in these games and they keep losing. Tough one for them here. Fun story with Philip Rivers. Give the Jags credit in this one. Bucks Dolphins. I don't know what the hell to say about the Bucks. They need to fire Todd Bowles, and it looked like he was going to be back based on early reports, and now there's reports saying it's kind of up in the air. But if they do move on from him, they're going to be embracing a rebuild. I mean, the amount of talent the Bucks have on this team for years, and they just underachieve. I mean, Todd Bowles went 8-9 with Tom Brady as his starting quarterback. And it actually infuriates me as a diehard Brady fan because they pulled the starters in that second half of the Atlanta game, Week 18 that year. Yes, they were locked in the 4th seed, but technically that loss goes on Brady's records. It's only loss against the Falcons and his only losing season ever. So that actually really annoyed me. And the whole year, Todd Bowles is so conservative, which he's an aggressive DC, but he was so conservative with his head coaching decisions. Just he had a baffling clock mismanagement in Cleveland that year. Just him and Byron Leftwich ruined Tom Brady's last season. And yes, Todd Bowles has won the division all 3 years he's been the head coach of the Bucks. The division has been dog shit also every year since Todd Bowles has been the head coach of the Bucks. The Falcons were decent last year, and I thought they were going to win the division. It looked like that was going to be the case, especially after they swept the Bucks. But then they shit the bed the back half of the year, and Tampa won the division. But yes, again, he's won the division, but it comes with a big kind of side note there, an asterisk, you can say. They are 1-7 in their last 8 games. And this is another thing with Todd Bowles. They start off hot, have a rough patch in the middle of the year, and they usually pick it up at the end. Not the case this year. The only team they've beaten in the last 8 games is the freaking Cardinals, and they still nearly lost that game at home. They're a disaster. The Dolphins are starting Quinn Ewers. No disrespect to him, but they're basically just they've given up on the year, obviously, being eliminated from the playoffs, and they're just trying to see if Quinn Ewers is maybe the guy that they can move forward with in the future. So, must-win game, especially with the Panthers losing, would have gave you some more leeway. Which obviously the Bucks didn't know that if the Panthers would lose or not. They were playing at the same time. Maybe they had the scoreboard on during both those games, or who knows. But either way, the Dolphins are a mess. Yes, the Bucks are a mess. The Dolphins are worse than the Bucks, I would say, even with the Bucks being as bad as they've been. Just the talent difference, at least you can say Tampa's much more talented. Todd Bowles against Quinn Ewers, the defense was getting shredded. A-Chain shredded them for a good portion of the game. Quinn Ewers played great. The Bucks offense was struggling most of this game. Baker had some bad turnovers. They were down 10 and got a touchdown with very little time left. Otherwise, they would have lost by 10. And McLaughlin missed a field goal. So actually, it would have been 13-20. Would have been interesting to see, one score game. The Dolphins were in full prevent, basically, if they could, keep the Bucks out of the end zone. But Tampa loses the game. They're now 7-9. I mean, really, lose or win one of your last 8 games with this team, all the talent, especially after the hot start. And again, kind of underachieving year after year with this roster. You have to move on from Todd Bowles, I think. I don't think they're going to, especially because they just signed into an extension. But yeah, again, as far as this game, just unacceptable by the Bucs. Disappointing performance, like many games since their hot start. Dolphins, give them credit. The defense looked good. Quinn Ewers looked good. So give them credit for keeping up, their competitive spirit. But yeah, Tampa, it's just shameful, honestly. Arizona and Cincy, yeah, the Bengals just beat the brakes off the Cardinals. Joe Burrow and the offense could not be stopped. They're throwing the linemen. It's just this was a disaster for the Cardinals. I figured Arizona's offense would get a bit more. I figured since you'd score a bit less, it would be close. But yeah, Arizona just got the doors blown off of them this game. Was kind of close relatively early. Bengals had a horrific touchdown. Actually, I think Mike Wilson stepped out of bounds. It was still horrific on the Bengals to allow that. But then the defense actually played a bit better the rest of the game. They played better really since that Baltimore game on Thanksgiving, at least a little bit better compared to how bad they were at the start of the year. But, Bengals picking it up, they're out, obviously, but they've been playing better the last two games. The offense has been great the last two games. Hopefully they can, go into this off season with high spirits, even though they're going to finish with a losing record. They're going to need to address some things. Obviously, the defense. Burrow, he seems not too happy. They're going to have to see what's going on there, trying to make amends with him. Zach Taylor, are they going to keep him? The Cardinals, they got even a more difficult offseason. Are they going to fire Gannon? They're going to win three or four games. They're a disaster. They've gotten blown out. All the injuries, they're a mess right now. Is Kyler going to be there? Just a disaster of a game for the Cardinals. Bengals, give credit to them. Just beat the brakes off of them straight up. Saints Titans. This was an entertaining game. The Titans have played like a solid football, well, maybe not solid, but a competent football team, much better than they were at the start of the year lately. And the Saints are on a win streak. Tyler Shough looks good. He's the odds-on favorite for Rookie of the Year. I did not see that coming. The Saints have been playing some solid ball. Tennessee was up early in this game. The Saints were trailing. Chase Young had a ridiculous play where he literally ripped it out of Cam Ward's hands and returned it for a touchdown. Then New Orleans, it's kind of back and forth. New Orleans is a lead late. Titans, Cam Ward makes a ridiculous play on fourth down to Tyjae Spears, keep the drive going, but he was down by contact. Tennessee ended up getting the ball back. They were going to attempt Hail Mary. They didn't get the throw off, and the Saints won. So, yeah, this was obviously a game between two teams with bad records, but, it was an entertaining game. Both teams have been playing a bit better lately. So this was a fun little, gem of a game, you can say. Give credit to the Saints. They're on a win streak. Shough looks great. Olave's been looking good lately the past 2 weeks. Cam Ward, even though they keep losing most of the time, Cam Ward's been looking better. So in the offense. So yeah, fun little game here. Give both teams credit, obviously, especially the Saints winning. Giants Raiders. Oh boy. This was one of the games of all time. Oh boy. Yeah, well, the Giants won, but you can honestly argue the Raiders won because they won the Tank Bowl. Had the Giants lost this game, they would have secured the first pick. Now it looks like the Raiders are going to, or at least they're in the driver's seat to get it. I think the Giants can still get it, but we'll have to see what happens. They, yeah, the Giants just look great. They beat the brakes off the Raiders. They were up most of the game. They're up 17. The Raiders put a nice touchdown drive again. It's like, all right, maybe they can fight back. And then the Giants immediately get a kickoff return for a touchdown. It's like, well, that's game. Dart and the offense couldn't be stopped. The defense is all over Geno. Geno had a bad turnover. He got hurt. I honestly thought the Raiders were going to win this game. Just a disaster. Honestly, you can argue they're tanking. They put Bowers on IR. They have Max Crosby. They say he needs season-ending knee surgery, and then Crosby posts a video of him shooting hoops in his house. Not a good look for them. They are an absolute mess, and it's just a disaster of a season. I can't believe they're this bad. Nightmare of a game. Give the Giants credit for just playing a complete game, outplaying the Raiders by a mile. Score is pretty indicative of the game. But again, the Raiders, they won the Tank Bowl. Eagles Bills. This was not a good offensive game. the Eagles' offense in the first half actually was looking good. They're moving the ball. Obviously, they only put up 13 points, but they were moving the ball. Hurts looked good. And then the second half, they did nothing. They literally had zero passing yards. It's the second game this year where the Eagles have won, the other game being at Tampa, where they haven't they haven't gained a single yard passing, I think was the stat. And they won. That is just that is unbelievable. I've never been a Hurts guy. I always thought Hurts has been mid, and there's a great example of it. Yes, Kevin Patullo, I think, is a horrible offensive coordinator, but at least this season, but still, I mean, I can't imagine they're going to bring him back. Well, at least bring him back in the same role next season. But the defense single-handedly carried them this game, like they have most games this season. They I mean, they had the Bills shut out until a couple minutes left in the game where the Bills scored. They got the extra point blocked. The Bills get the ball back. They march on the field. They score. They go for two. Shakir's wide open, and Allen missed him. Allen missed him wide open. And then obviously the Bills, there was 5 seconds that they had to go onside. Eagles recover it. They just kneel it. They win. So this was a very ugly game. Very defensive oriented game, obviously. Philly's defense dominated them. Josh Allen took a couple bad sacks. Their receivers made a couple nice contested catches. Shavers, then my old guy from the Patriots, even though we only had him for one season. Brandon Cooks made a nice catch late in the game when it looked like the Bills were going to, tie the game up. They went for two, which was another questionable decision. You're outplaying the Eagles. The offense has absolutely nothing going in the second half. You have all the momentum. Why not just tie the game, go to overtime? Yes, it got blocked the previous play, but you can't play scared. I don't know, maybe it's because Josh Allen was injured. They just wanted to get the game over there and then, but I don't know. Easy to second guess because it didn't work out. But I'm glad it didn't because this game won my team, the Patriots, the division. So thank you, Eagles. I very thrilled at that. I celebrated that in my video on the Patriots, so be sure to check that out. My Week 17 takeaways video on that game if you're interested. I posted like a 10-minute victory celebration on my Snap stories. That was fantastic. Very thrilled. I figured we were going to win it anyway, but obviously to officially clinch it's a great feeling. But the Bills, tough one for them here. Obviously, as I just mentioned, they're not going to win the division, so they're going to have to probably play 3 straight road games in all likelihood to get to the Super Bowl. It's supposed to be their year with no Mahomes and possibly an injured or maybe even no Lamar at all, and they're going to have to do it on the road. I think they can do it still, but yeah, going to be tough. And now Allen, what's the injury with him? How bad is it? They were very conservative on their last drive, so it had to have been extremely, impactful on Josh Allen. He denied it, but obviously you can see it out there. Yeah, Eagles, again, they're going to be a dangerous team in the postseason simply because this defense is just elite, and it's single-handedly capable of winning them games. They lose multiple games this season. This game, the Lions game, the Packers game, basically that Tampa game, as I mentioned, their offense did nothing in the second half besides one touchdown, basically at the goal line off a controversial Bucky Irving fumble. And their offense, even though it's bad, it has the talent to be extremely lethal. Like it has a couple games this season, so they're a dangerous team. I don't think they're going to go all the way because I don't think the defense is going to be able to carry them the whole postseason. They're going to have to win 4 games to win the repeat as Super Bowl champs. I don't think the offense is going to be able to do it, but who knows? Ugly win for them. Give them credit though. All the credit to the defense. Bills, ugly loss. A lot of questions coming out of this game. Sunday Night Football, really entertaining game here. Complete shootout. Both defenses played absolutely horrible. Niners gutted it out at the end. First play was a pick six, and I'm like, oh my god, like what the hell is it with this Bears defense and turnovers? After that, the Bears could not stop a parked car this game. They looked horrible defensively. The 49ers punted in the fourth quarter. They were up, but they punted. I think that was the only time they got stopped besides that interception. So they couldn't be stopped. But again, the 49ers offense, or sorry, their defense could not stop Chicago either. So back and forth, shootout, a bunch of different lead changes. 49ers, they're down after they punt because the Bears went down and scored a touchdown. Purdy hits Jennings for a touchdown on a nice play. And then the Bears are putting together a drive. Looks like they're going to pull it off. They're at the goal line, couple seconds left, and they ended up, Caleb had to kind of just heave a prayer, and it's short, incomplete, and the 49ers hold on. Massive game for both teams. Seeding wise, especially for the 49ers, if they had lost this game, Seattle would have been in the driver's seat for the 1 seed. And actually, I I trying to I'm gonna have to mess around in the playoff simulator to see if they would have lost this game. But I think they might have mathematically been eliminated from the 1 seed. I'm not 100% sure though, but they held on. I was surprised Shanahan didn't take a timeout that last play, but made sense because it did look like the Bears, they kind of got the formation in late. They rushed it a bit. So Shanahan talked about that in his post-game presser. Ben Johnson said it was on him to get the play in sooner. So nice smart of Shanahan not to take the timeout there to bail Chicago out. But I thought Chicago was going to pull it off. They convert a 4th down. Then they run a hook and ladder. I thought Swift was going to get in. The Niners make a tackle. And then they hold them out of the end zone. I thought Chicago was going to pull off another miracle well, not miracle, but another monumental comeback. Again, big game seeding wise. The Niners, Bears, they could have been the 2 seed. Actually, well, technically they could have been the 1 seed if they had won this game because I believe Seattle beat, or sorry, if San Fran beat the 40, or San Fran beat the 49ers, if San Fran beat Seattle next week, Chicago, assuming they win next week, this upcoming week against the Lions, would be the 1. So big game seeding wise, went down to the wire. Great game. Both quarterbacks looked great. Defenses looked awful. Niners got it out. Credit to them. Great game. Chicago finally lost a close one in the end. Monday night, Rams Falcons. This was a surprise. The Rams looked horrible at the start of the game. They're on 21-0. Bijan's going off. He had a 93-yard touchdown, I believe it was, a run. The defense is over Stafford. He has a pick 6. He has another interception. They looked awful. They're down 21-0 at the half. And in the second half, the Falcons, they choked. They nearly blew the game. The Rams, it was 21-0 at half. The Rams got a touchdown, and then I believe the Falcons got a field goal, so it was 24-7. Rams get another touchdown, so it's 24 to. No. So the Falcons get it. It's okay. So I think the Rams get a touchdown, 21-7. Falcons get a field goal, so it's 24-7. And then the Rams, they get another. What the hell happened? I'm trying to. The Rams, I think, got a field goal. Yeah, the Rams got a field goal, I think. And then the Falcons attempting a field goal, get it blocked by Jared Verse, and he returns it for a touchdown. I did not have a good feeling lining up for the field goal that Zane Gonzalez is going to make it. And then when it gets blocked, I'm like, oh my God, the Rams are going to win this game. This is Mays. Mays, great case for him for the MVP. Stafford shitting the bed, another loss, especially with the game May had against the Jets I mentioned was phenomenal in that game. I'm like, this is going to really, really be a heart killer if the Rams come back and win, even though Stafford wasn't playing that great. So then the Rams get it to a 7-point game. It's 24-17. And Falcons, they end up picking Stafford off again with a pick 6. Then who I think it might have been, I forget who picked it off, but they were out of bounds. They have to punt. Rams go down the field, tie it. Falcons get in field goal range. I thought Zane Gonzalez was going to miss the kick, and Atlanta was going to lose off of it. The Rams get a game-winning field goal off of it. Zane Gonzalez makes the kick, and then the Falcons get extremely lucky. They tried to bowl the game in so many ways, typical Falcons fashion. First play, wide open. Receiver Stafford missed him. Second play, missed DPI in the Falcons, would have set the Rams up for a chance to win the game at the goal line. Um, Actually, I think around the 10-yard line. In real time, it was hard to tell, but then when they slowed it down the replay, Falcons definitely got away with the DPI. Then the third down play, Puka Nacua, it looked like he had a ridiculous catch, but he bobbled it, was incomplete. Fourth down was just, they tried a quick pass, get in field goal range, and it was just out of bounds. Play wasn't there, and Atlanta held on, but they got extremely lucky. Now, the Falcons, they've been playing well the past couple weeks on a 3-game win streak here. I guess Raheem Morris really making a case to keep his job. I think they should probably fire him, but obviously on this win streak here, we'll have to see if they can beat the Saints next week to finish 8-9, same record as last year for them. But yeah, they're up 21-0. They look phenomenal. Then they blew it. They should have lost this game, honestly. Stafford did not play well, was not his night, was missing throws. He normally does. 3 interceptions, one of them being a pick six. Another one, again, could have been a pick six. It was originally, but he was stepped out of bounds. The DB who picked it off missed those throws late, just not Stafford's night, and they still nearly won the game, coming back down from 21-0 with no Adams, too. So Atlanta got extremely lucky to win the game, honestly. Rams got some tough breaks. They're on a 2-game losing streak. They're going to play the starters week 18. So we'll have to see if they go into the postseason, coming off a good win. They play the Cardinals. I'm going to assume they probably should beat the brakes off that team, but we'll have to wait and see. Rams can be as high as the 5 seed. Well, they can either the 5 or the 6 because the Packers are locked into the 7 seed. But if they finish third in the division, that is certainly going to help Drake May's case for MVP. But as far as this game, again, Rams bad breaks, tough one for them, almost came back. Falcons just held on. Typical Falcons game, but they almost blew up. They held on. Give them credit. So yeah, those were all the games in week 17. It was a pretty entertaining slate. Very spread out between Christmas. There was 3 games. Saturday there was 2 games. Then obviously, the 1 and then the 4. Then the Sunday night and then the Monday night game. Pretty entertaining slate of games. Consequential games as far as seeding. Fantasy championships this week. I had a chance, and then when Bijan hit that 93-yard touchdown, I got completely cooked. Back-to-back years, I've lost the championship in that league, so that really sucks. But yeah, was a pretty entertaining week of football. Actually, I think maybe now or in a bit, I'm gonna record my week 18 playoff scenario video where I'm gonna go through all the games taking place on the little playoff predictor websites, one of them, and just go through all the scenarios, kind of play around, talk about all the different scenarios. Should be pretty fun. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this week of football. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you did good with betting, especially fantasy, as I mentioned, fantasy championships this past week. Hopefully you guys did good with that, especially this week fantasy-wise. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Take it easy. And as always, go Pats.